So guys, today we're going to be going over the Modern Warfare timeline. So we're going to start with Modern Warfare 4, also known as Modern Warfare 1, then Modern Warfare 2, and 3. I might throw a couple clips of them. I do have a couple clips, so I might throw in a couple campaign clips for Modern Warfare 2. So in 2011, a civil war breaks out in Russia between its government and ultranationalists who seek to restore Russia and its Soviet-era glamour. Meanwhile, separatist groups led by Khaled al-Assad seizes power in a small but oil-rich country in the Middle East throughout the Qubit, executing its president al-Fawani. Al-Assad has extreme anti-Western views, which prompts the United States to invade the country. Shortly into the invasion, a platoon of the USMC First Force Recon, led by Lieutenant Vasquez, is sent to capture Khaled al-Assad, but failed to locate him. They later engage in urban combat in an unarmed city south of the capital and help support and repair an M1 Abrams tank to assist them. In the meantime, John Soap McTavish is recruited into the British SAS squad, led by Captain Price. The group conducts two operations. The first leads them to infiltrate a cargo ship in the Bering Strait. Neutralizing the armed Russians on the boat, the group discovers a nuclear device labeled in Arabic and retrieves its manifests. Enemy MiGs scuttle the ship, but the SAS escapes by helicopter. The second operation takes them in Russia to rescue one of their allies, a Russian informant named Nikolai working within the Ultranationalist Party. Assisted by Russian loyalist forces, Price's team succeeds in rescuing Nikolai. However, their helicopter is shot down, forcing the group to make their way through enemy territory with support from an AC-130 gunship before they can be extracted. Intelligence gathered from these two missions indicate that Khaled al-Assad may be in possession of a Russian nuclear device. The following day, the U.S. launches a full-scale assault on al-Assad's presidential place, aware of the SAS warning about the possible nuclear device. As U.S. Navy SEALs invade the palace, the Marines engage al-Assad's ground forces. The assault, however, ends in a catastrophe when the nuclear device suddenly detonates, wiping out most of the city with everybody in it. Refusing to assume al-Assad's dead, Price's strike team, supported by Russian loyalists, raid a house in a village in Azerbaijan to irritate the occupying Russian forces and capture al-Assad. Shortly into the interrogation, al-Assad's phone rings. After hearing the voice of the caller, Price executes al-Assad and reveals that the caller was the leader of the ultranationalists, Amron Zakhaev. Price tells him of the assassination against Zakhaev in Pripyat, Ukraine in 1996, in the aftermath of the Chernobyl disaster and collapse of the Soviet Union. Zakhaev took advantage of the turmoil to profit from the nuclear proliferation and uses his new wealth to lure soldiers from the Soviet army to form his ultranationalist party. Price, then a lieutenant, and his superior, Captain Macmillan, were sent on a black operation to eliminate him. In Pripyat, the two reached their vantage point in a hotel, with Price firing upon Zakhaev with a Bear M82 sniper. However, the shot only severed Zakhaev's arm. Price and Macmillan barely escaped Zakhaev's henchmen. Following the death of al-Assad, Price's team hold off against ultranationalist forces who arrive to avenge him. Later, a joint task force compared of the SAS, Force Recon, and the Loyalists attempt to capture Zakhaev's son, Victor, to learn Zakhaev's whereabouts. After ambushing him in an enemy convoy, Victor flees but is soon cornered on the roof of an apartment building. Refusing to surrender, he commits suicide. Enraged, Zakhaev retaliates by taking control of a nuclear launch facility. An operation is launched by the task force to take the site from Zakhaev's force via halo jump. However, Zakhaev promptly launches nuclear incremental ballistic missiles at the U.S. eastern seaboard with the potential of causing 41 million casualties. The SAS and Force Recon, however, managed to break the facility, seize the command room, and remotely destroy the missiles over the Atlantic Ocean with abort codes from command. They escape in military trucks with forces in pursuit. An ultranationalist M124 Hind helicopter destroys a bridge and traps the joint force. In an ensuing fight, a tanker explodes and many of the group are either killed or injured. Zakhaev himself arrives and begins killing wounded soldiers who are arriving. One arriving loyalists in an M21A Havoc destroys M24 Hind. Distracted, Zakhaev turns to the loyalist forces and Price gives Soap an M1911. The the ladder that kills Zakhaev and his escort. Will's forces start tending the wound immediately. In the epilogue, the missile indent and the ultranationalist support of al-Assad are covered up, this thus causing the events of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2. We're going to get right into the campaign. I might go over some of the missions, but we're just going to get real quick into the year is 2016, 4 years after the events of COD 2 or COD 1. And despite the efforts of the United States MC and the SAS, the ultranationalists received control of Russia and declare Zakhaev a hero and murder, erecting a statue of him in the heart of the Red Square. Meanwhile, Vladimir Makarov, one of Zakhaev's former lieutenants, begins a campaign against Europe by committing brutal acts of terrorism over the course of 5 years. In Afghanistan, U.S. Army Rangers Private First Class Joseph Allen assists as commanding officer Sergeant Foley in training the local soldiers until he is called to run a training course overseen by Lieutenant General Shepard, who is recruiting one of the Rangers for a special operation. After completing the course, Allen and the rest of the 75th Ranger Regiment assists in taking the city from local OPFOR soldiers. Impressed by Allen's abilities, General Shepard recruits him into Task Force 141, an elite multi-nation counter-terrorist unit under Shepard's command. Meanwhile, two other members of 141, Soap McTavish and Gary Roach Sanderson, infiltrate a Russian airbase in the Tian Shan Mountains to retrieve an ACS module from the downed satellite. During their infiltration, Soap orders Roach to plant explosives to cover their escape, but it's compromised while retrieving the ACS. When they are pursued by enemy forces, both men manage to escape with the module on snowmobiles. Allen is later sent on an undercover mission in Russia for the CIA, joining Makarov disguised as terrorist Alex Brodin in a massacre of civilians at the Zakhaev International Airport in Moscow. While they manage to evade capture by Russian forces, Makarov, aware of Allen's identity, kills him during extraction, leaving his body to spark a war between Russia and the United States of America. Angered by what was believed to be an American-supported terrorist attack, Russia retaliates with a massive surprise invasion on the United States. After bypassing its early warning system, revealing that the ACS module that McTavish and Sanderson recovered had already been compromised before its retrieval. 75th Ranger Regiment Sergeant Foley leads a squad including Corporal Dunn and Allen's replacement, Private James Ramirez, in a defense of suburb in northeastern Virginia against the enemy Russian paratroopers. During their assault in a Russian-occupied neighborhood, Shepard contacts Foley and orders a squad to distract an HVI, claiming that he has intel vital to the war effort. Upon arriving at the HVI's safe house, Sergeant Foley and his squad discover the safe house breached and the HVI murdered along with odd and safe room is forcibly breached as Dunn checks for bodies for intel. They later proceed to a war-torn Washington D.C. where U.S. forces are fighting the Russians for control of the capital city. Sergeant Foley and his squad proceed to the Russian-occupied Capitol building, where they are tasked with destroying and placed AA guns that prevent the army from excavating civilians. They later provide air support for U.S. forces on board a helicopter, but are soon shot out of the sky. The squad, running low on ammunition, make a last stand against the Russian army before a sudden flash halts their attack. Meanwhile, Task Force 141 searches for evidence that implants Makarov as the mastermind behind the airport massacre. As all proof of Makarov's involvement died with Allen, intelligence leads them to a favela in Rio de Janeiro, where the team investigates leads on Makarov's contact. Weapons dealer Alejandro Rojas, they find out from Rojas that Makarov's worst enemy, known as Prisoner 627, is locked up in a Russian gulag in Petropavlovsky. On orders of Shepard, the task force is sent to infiltrate an oil platform off the coast and in Russia in order to rescue several hostages before assaulting the gulag. The task force assaults their prison and manages to free 627, who is revealed to be Captain John Price, who was previously captured during Operation Kingfish. Price agrees to aid Soap and Shepard in tracking down Makarov, with Soap handing the command of the unit over to Price. While Shepard believes that they must continue the hunt for Makarov, Price decides that ending the war in America is their first priority. To end it, he temporarily goes rogue and leads 141 on a raid of a Russian port where they gain control of a nuclear submarine. Price uses the submarine to launch a ballistic missile towards Washington, D.C. He sets the warheads to detonate in upper atmosphere, unintentionally destroying the International Space Station and giving electromagnetic post, crippling vehicles and electronic equipment on both sides, giving the Americans a slight advantage. If you guys don't know what that is, that's an EMP. So electromagnetic pulse. Back in the United States, Ramirez's squad mates seek shelter from disabled aircraft that are now literally falling from the sky and proceed to the White House after running into Private Vaughn. He tells the squad that Colonel Marshall is assembling whatever forces he can do to retake the White House, which is now a stronghold for the Russian army. After finally meeting Marshall, he orders the squad taking the White House is their top priority. But they later receive a transmission informing them that the Air Force is preparing to carpet bomb the entire city to deny the Russians of a strong foothold. Foley's squad fight their way to the White House and set off flares in the nick of time, aborting the airstrike. Flares are lit on the rooftops of other landmarks, signifying that the city is still in American hands and not lost to the Russians. Angered over destruction of the Capitol, Foley, Dunn, and the rest of the Rangers vow revengeance against the Russians, claiming they will burn Moscow to the ground as they did with D.C. Narrowing down Makarov's two hiding spots in two separate locations, Task Force 141 decided to split up. Price and Soap traveled to an aircraft boneyard in Afghanistan while Roach and Ghost raid Makarov's safe house on the Georgian-Russian border. At the safe house, Roach and his team obtained vital intelligence from Makarov's computer and escaped with Makarov's men in pursuit. However, when they reach extraction, Shepard betrays them, retrieving the intelligence and taking it with him, murdering Roach and Ghost and burning their bodies in the process. Price and McTavish quickly learn of Shepard's betrayal, though Price states that he wasn't betrayed since he never trusted Shepard. The duo managed to escape an already ongoing battle between Shepard and Makarov's men with Nikolai's help. After contacting Makarov and offering to kill Shepard for him, Makarov grudgingly reveals Shepard's location at a mountain base in Afghanistan, codenamed Site Hotel Bravo. Price and McTavish raid the base and attempt to take revenge on Shepard in a suicide mission. During the infiltration, Shepard tries to escape on a Zodiac motorboat in a long pursuit. At the climax of the pursuit, Shepard boards a paved low, only for Price to disable it by shooting the helicopter rotor, causing a crash landing. Price and Soap tumble over a waterfall in the process. After recovering from the fall, a dazed Soap gets up and approaches the crash paved low with his knife. He sees Shepard and moves in for a kill. Shepard counters by slamming Soap on a destroyed car and stabs him in the chest. Shepard then proceeds to inform Soap how he just lost 30,000 men in the blink of an eye, and proceeds to empty his .44 Magnum, loading 2 bullets in it. Supposedly one for Soap and the other for Price. However, just before Shepard shoots Soap, Price tackles Shepard and the two engage in a brutal fistfight. While Price manages to hold his own, Shepard ultimately gets the upper hand, but the heavily wounded Soap is able to pull the knife from his chest and throw it into Shepard's left eye, killing him. Price regains consciousness and expects Soap's wounds as Nikolai arrives in a helicopter to extract them. Nikolai warns them that they will be pursued, but Price insists that Soap receives medical attention this minute. Nikolai mentions that he knows a safe place to go to, and Soap and Price, now globally wanted criminals, go into hiding. Hours after killing General Shepard in Modern Warfare 3, Captain John Price and Nikolai excavate a gravely wounded Soap McTavish to a safe house run by Nikolai's allies in Himachal, British India. While Soap receives medical attention, A large group of men under Vladimir Makarov's command stormed the building in an attempt to kill all three. An ex-Spetsnaz operative named Yuri aids Price. That's right, aids Price in giving Soap medical attention and securing a safe route to the extraction point out of the country. The Russian invasion on the United States continues, culminating in a battle of Lower Manhattan. A Delta Force team with the call sign Metal under the command of Sandman is deployed in New York to repel the Russian assault along the East River. Team Metal succeeds in destroying a jam device mounted on the rooftop of the New York Stock Exchange building and escapes on a Black Hawk helicopter. They later assist the U.S. Navy SEALs in boarding a Russian Oscar II to use an Oscar II to use its ordnance against the Russian Navy. As a result of Team Metal's actions, the Russians withdraw from the East Coast and presumably the entire United States. 2 months later, Russian President Vorshevsky announces plans to make peace with the U.S. at a summit in Hamburg, Germany. During the announcement, several men who were loyal to Makarov sabotages the plane. Agents from the FPS, Federal Protective Services, are able to escort Olena Vorshevsky's daughter out of danger, but Vorshevsky himself is kidnapped. With Soap largely recovered from his injuries, Yuri gives Price intelligence about an arms deal between Makarov and a militia known as the PRF in the Sierra Leone. I'm just gonna do TF141 instead of just task force. TF141 now considering of only Price, Soap, Nikolai, and Yuri infiltrate a PRF-occupied village where the cargo is supposedly stored, only to find an empty warehouse. The three push their way to a church in the center of town, but are too late in retrieving the cargo. Coming across a shipping manifest, Price learns that there are 3 packages that contain chemical weapons and are being distributed across Europe. Meant to be used for the assaulting Paris, Berlin, and London, Price covertly informs his former mentor, Captain Macmillan, current baseplate of the SAS, of his findings and asks for intelligence for a favor for Pripyat. The intelligence leads TF-141 to Warabi, a warlord in Somalia. Meanwhile, a French satellite discovers a possible security threat in London, which prompts them to contact the M16, a British SAS team led by Sergeant Wallcraft, is then deployed to prevent the use of one of these chemical weapons in London. They secure the dockyards and pursue the terrorists throughout the underground metro system. The SAS team destroy a truck suspected to carry the chemical weapons, only to discover it's a decoy. The actual truck carrying the bomb detonates elsewhere in London. Dozens of other chemical attacks are revealed to have been successfully conducted in the major cities throughout the Western Europe. In Hamburg, Team Metal is deployed to being aided by M1 Abrams tanks in the area after the Russian military launches a land invasion of Germany immediately following the chemical attacks. TF-141 and Nikolai's men assault Warabi's stronghold in Somalia and search for him. He told them that he made a physical transaction with a bomb maker named Volk in Paris. Price then kills Warabi operating on the intelligence acquired by Price. Team Metal carries out a joint operation with the French GIGN to capture Volk. Team Metal is successful in the operation, albeit at the cost of the collapsing of the Eiffel Tower. Volk gives up information about a meeting held by Makarov in Prague. Thanks to the intel given by Team Metal and with the aid of Kamarov, Price, Soap, and Yuri infiltrate the city with the intention of assassinating Makarov. Price takes a position in the Hotel Lustig, while Soap and Yuri provide cover from a nearby church. However, the assassination attempt goes away when it turns out that Kamarov has been taken hostage by Makarov. He was also aware of Yuri's alliance with Price and Soap. Both the hotel and the church have been revealed to have been rigged with explosives, then detonate, sending Yuri and Soap falling to the ground. A Price barely escaped a bomb-laden Kamarov, who was killed by the explosions. Yuri wakes up to see Soap very badly wounded from the fall. As Price tries to get him up, the three take refuge in a nearby resistance safe house. As the resistance come to their aid in the safe house, Soap succumbs to his wounds and dies just after telling Price about Makarov's relationship with Yuri. Enraged by the revelation, Price punches Yuri down a flight of stairs and holds a gun, demanding how he knew Makarov. Through flashbacks, Yuri describes his role in the Russian Ultranationalists. He and Makarov are bros present at Price's attempted assassination of Zakhaev, the nuclear detonation in the Middle East, and the airport massacre in Moscow. Before the massacre, Yuri tried warning the authorities about what Makarov was about to do in the airport. But Makarov knew of this and shot him in the car parking lot and left him for dead. As punishment, when the attack began, Yuri managed to weld a pistol that belonged to a dead officer. He attempted to stop the massacre but failed due to his injuries. A medic comes to his aid and saves him as the flashbacks end. Price decides not to shoot Yuri as he bought himself some time. You've bought yourself some time for now. The two follow up a lead on Makarov's suspected fortress. Thanks to intel provided by Macmillan, Price and Yuri infiltrate the fortress and learn of President Vorshevsky's captivity, as well as the recent intelligence that the president's daughter is in Berlin. Price and Yuri destroy the base and relay the intelligence to Team Metal, who act on Price findings. They head to Berlin in an attempt to reach the safe house and save Vorshevsky's daughter, but are too late, and the helicopter with the girl inside gets away. Team Metal tells Price of their failure to rescue the rescue of the daughter, and that they took her to a diamond mine in Siberia, where her father, the president, is also located. Both TF-141 and Team Metal set out on a rescue operation to save them. The team are successful in rescuing Vorshevsky, however not everyone was able to escape. Sandman and the other members of Team Metal, including Truck, Grinch, Sandman, and Frost, lives to their allies did not get on the extraction helicopter, keeping the enemies busy. They are killed by the collapsing mine, though he is still alive. Sergeant Derek Frost Winterbrook was not present in this operation. Thank God. Following the rest of Vorshevsky and the end of the conflict between Russia, Price and Yuri focus on Makarov and try to find a location of his hiding. They managed to find him at Hotel Oasis in Dubai. 3 months later, in 2017, thanks to intel by Nikolai, their first scene putting Juggernaut armor on in the van as Makarov's men shoot it, but to no avail. They eventually start infiltrating the hotel with the armor and their machine guns, and virtually unstoppable now, helicopter shoots them while in an elevator. Their armor catches fire, forcing them to shed it. Now they only have 4 minutes to find Makarov, so the two of them head to a restaurant where he is reported to be. They see him running up to the roof of a building, but are being fired at by rockets from another helicopter. The rockets cause the atrium to collapse. The floor collapses and Price narrowly escapes, falling to his death. After clambering up, he sees that Yuri has been impaled by a piece of debris from an explosion as he tells Price to go on without him and stop Makarov. As he tries to pull the metal rod out of his abdomen, as Price runs to the roof, he sees Makarov trying to escape via the helicopter, but Price manages to jump onto it. He punches one of the pilots and pulls him out. The co-pilot tries to shoot him with a pistol, but Price dodges it, shooting the helicopter instead. He is then stabbed into the throat. Price then manages to divert the helicopter back onto the roof where it crashes. Price wakes up to see the glass about to shatter. He sees Makarov getting out of the crashed helicopter, and the two of them race for a deagle they see on the floor. As Price is about to grab it, Makarov steps on his hand, welding it first. As he's about to shoot Price, he is caught off guard by Yuri as he comes in and shoots him in the shoulder 4 times right before he is able to finish Price. Makarov then shoots him back, being the big beast that he is, ultimately shooting him in the face, killing him in a single shot. As Makarov looks at his former ally's dead body, Price uses this counterattack to charge at him. Then he grabs a loose cable and wraps it around his neck, around a beam and his neck. The glass they're fighting on finally breaks and the two of them fall, but Makarov is hanged by a cable around his neck. Price survives the fall and lights one last cigar in victory as he watches Makarov's hanging corpse. Police sirens are then heard outside as the credits start rolling. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. So the first mission is Fog of War in Verdansk, Kastevaria. Echo 3-1, also known as codename Alex, assaults Sparkov's gas factory from Chief Chief Laswell gives him orders to. They get a swab and leave out on the convoy. Later, a burning part of a truck comes rolling down a hill, blowing up the first vehicle. However, an ambush by apparently the Alcatel forces start attacking them. Essentially, he blows up and Alex blacks out. Later, he wakes up. About 5 minutes later, wakes up getting dragged out of the car and on it. Eventually, everybody gets killed except for one person, also known as Alex, as you guys still know, because, you know, you can't really die playing. They leave, and essentially, Alex gets Russian backup. Now we're in Piccadilly Circus, London, UK, Piccadilly. So, you start out with Kyle Garrick, also known as Gaz from the ending. Essentially, you need to stop a van that is supposed to have bombs in it, but you don't know that, so you go to arrest the 4 guys in there, and essentially the plane blows up. So you wiggle your way and take out everybody, trying to find out everybody, and essentially Captain Price comes to your aid and helps you out. You push open a door and go up a flight of stairs to find out that there's 3 hostages, 2 with a bag over their head, and 1 with a vest, and it has a timer on it. Captain Price throws him over the edge and dives down on Garrick, ultimately saving him from the blast. In Urkistan, on the 3rd mission, embedded, Farah Hadir, the commander, Farah, the Lieutenant Hadir, also known as Farah's sister, and Alex goes there to look for the Russian gas. So, to create a distraction as their plan is to get an air base, and they need to attack it. They need reinforcements from there to come to their plan. So their plan was to blow up 2 helicopters, they're gonna bring reinforcements to the blow up scene, giving the Urkistan forces plenty of time to attack. So Alex goes around putting bombs on the helicopters and blows them up. They essentially get out of there and get back to their house. Again, in the 4th mission, Proxy War, they end up going to the airfield and securing all the armories and getting some support by a helicopter in one of the coolest missions. That's essentially it. Then you go back to the UK in Camden Town. From intel from the attacks on Piccadilly, they get intel of where the wolf could possibly be, one of the main bad guys. So they infiltrate a townhouse in the UK, also is one of the best missions, also known as Clean House. They go and infiltrate it with night vision goggles, and they find nothing. But at the end, you have split decision: do you kill or not, as there's somebody apparently reaching for something, but it turns out to be a baby. In the last one, essentially you get intel on the butcher and the wolf, and for the wolf, essentially Sergeant Griggs and his men get told by Captain Price intel. So they infiltrate a hospital and take out the wolf, and, well, they grab the wolf. They go down to the embassy, and it gets attacked, so they have to move him to a safe house very close to the embassy. They attack him, and you defend the embassy using a laser pointer to mark for a helicopter as one of the coolest defending missions. Then you go back to the safe house where Stacy, you help escape using security cameras, is getting threatened at gunshot, so you have to kill the person, and, well, it's kind of like if you don't kill her, well, then she dies. If you kill him, well, she lives. So they open up the safe house door, and he's nowhere. They blew the door open. So the next mission, I already did hunting, Clean House, hunting party, the embassy, Highway of Death. Alex is is using Hadir's sniper rifle and taking out everybody, taking out trucks and taking out trucks, suicide trucks, and other members. And other members of the Alcatel forces, stop them from attacking. Then you go 20 years back to another mission. Hold on. Also known as Hometown. Essentially, you play as a young Farah trying to escape a city where your papa or dad gets killed by a soldier, and you have to watch it and hide and attack the soldier. You escape there and grab a gun and shoot the two soldiers, and essentially try to escape. But Roman Barkov, the general of the Russian forces, stops you right there. Then you go back to the present day, where you go to the Wolf's Den. You wear night vision goggles again and attack a house where you go in and you ask for where he is. Apparently in a tea house place underground. You go there, and Alex and Farah go under there. The tunnel collapses, and you have to go and essentially work your way through a bunch of tunnels and find the wolf. There he is in an armor vest with wires and stuff, and you have to defuse it using Farah's strict instructions. Then you escape. Then you go back 10 years later as you are captive by Roman Barkov. You're in solitary confinement, and you have to make an epic escape out of prison where young Lieutenant Price, yes, Lieutenant also, but this is in a different universe, so I'm not going to connect it to the trilogy, but where a young Lieutenant Price saves you by the nick of your teeth from getting shot. Then you go to Old Comrades. You get a positive ID of where the butcher is, and with help from, they have to interrogate. Essentially, you have to go to the butcher and essentially interrogate him to get information on where Hadir is in St. Petersburg, Russia. So you, Nikolai, and Price all essentially have to attack and follow the butcher. After Nikolai hits him with a van, mainly stopping him, they capture him and interrogate him for a location on there. They finally give him. The butcher finally gives them intel on where he is in Barkov's residence in Barsy, Moldova. After that, you have the option to either kill him or let him live. It won't really change the outcome. It'll just be different in the cutscene at the end. Like at the end of the mission, the cutscene will either be he's dead or he's alive. It doesn't really matter. So essentially, you go to there and another cool mission. I don't really find it cool because it's kind of hard, but also known as Going Dark. Essentially, you either go to a church, a pool, or a church, pool, or clock tower. And essentially, there's hostages, and you have to get intel from them. Essentially, two of the hostages don't say anything, while two give out third floor 351. Essentially giving the code, and Captain Price shoves a gun in Hadir's face when you get there and interrogate him. You essentially have to escape from getting attacked and getting your ass chopped by a helicopter and get into a cave. Essentially, you come out of the tunnel, and Laswell comes and, well, and it's like, bring him over. And essentially it's a one-way trip to the Russians, and then you have the final mission. You have Barkov's chemical factory in Borjami, Georgia. You have to go attack it with Alex. So you have Farah, Alex, Price, and Kyle. All go assault it. So Farah and Alex go assault it by using laser pointers and stuff. You go in there and you plant, and you go and try and you detonate the factory, kind of, at the back of the factory. Apparently, nobody can make it out in time, so either Farah has to go in or Alex. And Alex sacrifices himself to go in, so Farah can kill Barkov. Then you switch to Kyle Garrick's perspective and plant bombs on pipelines. Then it shows a helicopter flying off in the distance, with Nikolai flying it and Barkov in the back. You as Farah sneak up behind Barkov and kill him for revenge for what happened 20 years ago, where they got captured as kids. She kills him by stabbing him in the neck and stuff, and you have 4 options, saying, I am Krim, shut your mouth, you are a terrorist, or I forgot what the other one was. Or you can just say nothing, and you kick them off the plane. Then the final one, named Tea Time. You're talking, and Captain Price, well, something goes like this: they give me what I need. And essentially, to capture the task force, he's like, what do you, I won't, there, so essentially, Kyle Garrick is Gaz. Then they're like, John McTavish, SAS, goes by Soap, Demolition. Why? That's classified. Then essentially, it's, there he is. So, there's no picture. Never. And then Kate Laswell is, what are you calling this task force? And Captain Price says 141. One of the most badass endings in history that I've known, and this has to be one of the sickest missions and endings in history. Essentially, where you take on two perspectives. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. I will see you guys for the Black Ops timeline. Eventually, I've already got COD 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to do Modern Warfare, as you guys are seeing. Then I'm going to do the Black Ops. Then I'm going to do Advanced Warfare, Ghosts, Infinite Warfare, and World War II, all combined in one. So essentially, it's going to be a huge timeline. But, yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy. But, leave a like, subscribe, and I want you guys to see future ones.